Okay, guys, hope you're ready for this window. It's our last one before we get back to playing the rubbish Oceania team. So we've got South Korea at home, then Egypt away, and they've told me they're ready for us, Egypt. So, you know, that's the main name for this window because South Korea, we should be beating at this stage. Now, a couple of new faces. Victor Sono's out with an injury, so Tressor from the Phoenix comes in. I've been told he's got really high potential, so looking forward to seeing what you can do off the bench. And also Louis Gomez, formerly of AFC Auckland. He's now qualifying as a New Zealander. Now, I know some of you guys are a bit skeptical about players like this because of the whole Max Caputo stupid face thing, but Louis Portuguese, and I think they have better morals than Australians. So I think Louis is actually committed to this, okay? So don't treat him too unfairly. He's not Max Caputo. Let's get this, just get it out the way now. He's not Australian. He's not Max. He's someone we can trust, okay? So I don't want any issues with Louis. He wants to be here. Just look after him, okay? We need the extra squad depth, okay? So 2 good performances in this window. Get up the rankings before we probably go down them because Oceania teams are really bad. Hello everyone and welcome to episode number 84 of the New Zealand Builder Nation here on Shaun Does FM with both Cashmere Technical and the All Whites. And coming today, we're going to make our way through the last international window before we get stuck into qualifying for the next FIFA World Cup. And we're taking on South Korea at home at Waikato Stadium. Haven't been there yet on camera, so that means a bus trip. And off the back of that, we're going to go to Egypt and take on those guys a bit higher than us on the FIFA World Rankings. So if you're looking forward to that coming up in today's episode, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also consider hitting that subscribe button and turning that notification bell on as well. It is greatly appreciated. But yesterday, we got through both the quarterfinal and the semi-final of the Chatham Cup with Cashmere Technical taking on Western Suburbs and Auckland City. So if you missed that one, I'll leave a link to it over in the top right corner. Off the back of that, we did finish up the Southern League season and also have played the first couple of games of the National League Championship as well as the Chatham Cup final. Very comprehensive wins to finish off the Southern League there with a perfect record. We'll just go back here to the tables so you can see what happened in each league. Auckland City, they won the Northern League. Hamilton Wanderers, Tauranga and Melville United, they just did enough to get past Eastern Suburbs and also Manukau United and Manurewa to make their way into the National League Championship. Central League wise, Western Suburbs actually just did enough to get past Wellington Olympic for the title, and Napier City Rovers, they make their way into the championship, I believe, for the first time in the save. Also relegated Narua Wahia and Birkenhead from the Northern League and Palmerston North Marist from the Central League. And we were joined by Nelson Suburbs, my local club, in the National League Championship. That's definitely for the first time. Christchurch United and Mosgiel just fell behind those guys by 1 point through the results on the last couple of match days, and Nomads, they will go down to the second tier in the South Island. So that's how things did finish up in terms of the domestic leagues, the Northern, Central and Southern League here in New Zealand. As you can see so far, it is both us and Western Suburbs who are joint top of the table with the exact same goal differential. That's because the first 3 games of the National League Championship, we have played a 3-1 win against the Phoenix Reserves. That was pretty comfortable despite the fact they grabbed a goal back there through Kumar at the 69-minute mark. But thankfully, we did hold on and picked up another goal through Tech 0 late to put that game to bed then. Just a 2-0 win over Tauranga City at home there, thanks to an injury time goal to Victor Ross in the first half and Medilo late on. And off the back of that, we took on Auckland City. This felt a lot more comfortable than the previous games, but we did concede 2 late, which does mean the scoreline was 3-2. But in terms of performance, this was probably the best so far in the National League Championship. First half goals there to El Ghazali and Rodriguez, and Nathan Walker got one in the second half. You can see actually rotated a bit for that game because some players were tired from those previous ones. Thankfully, didn't prove too costly despite the late goals that they did score there through Taylor and through Jenny. So that's how we've been unbeaten in the championship so far. Then we played the Chatham Cup final, and this was a whitewash, as you might have expected, considering we were playing a team who were below the Central League. We beat Wellington Marist 6-0. Kevin Mina picked up 4 goals despite missing a penalty at the 6-minute mark, and also goals there to Louis Enrique and too many low, so it does mean the Chatham Cup is back in our possession after, of course, Western Suburbs beat us in the quarterfinal last season. Yesterday, we got some revenge on those guys for that, so things going very well for us at Cashmere Technical, and we've got Western Suburbs first up off the back of this international break. If we beat those guys, you'd imagine that should pretty much book ourselves a spot in that top two. I can't imagine that both them or Auckland City will get the chance to go above us and make their way into that top two. But today we're focusing on the All Whites in our last international window before we get stuck in later this year to World Cup qualifying, which should be pretty easy because we're an Oceania team, currently 37th in the world. We have dropped down a couple of rankings off the back of where we did finish things up off the back of the last window, which was, of course, that OFC Nations Cup final. To be fair, does kind of make sense. It was a bit weird how we made our way up the rankings during that anyway, considering the teams that we were beating. But first up, we take on a team we've taken on quite a bit recently in South Korea, who actually are ranked one spot below us. So in theory, this should be a team we can beat, albeit their youth rating still a bit higher than ours. But over the last couple of years, they've definitely been on the slide ranking-wise. They are a decent team for us to play, considering that. So making the most of that, and also they are a team that doesn't mind coming down to New Zealand. So it is a team that we can take on quite regularly and we can beat. So hopefully this will be a good start to the window before we take on Egypt. In Egypt, they're a bit higher ranked. That one should be a bit tougher. Now, in terms of our squad going into this window, a couple of new faces. First up, Chris Jones makes his way back in because, of course, he's not injured. We brought him in for Ben Old in that previous window, but he got injured early stages of that OFC Nations Cup. Also, we've got one injury to Victor Sono, so it does mean a new face at right back, and this one is a new gen I wasn't aware of until I was looking for players with high potential. That is Tresor Nyonkuru, not the most New Zealand name, but he is a 15-year-old out of the Wellington Phoenix with a lot of potential and was only just a touch worse than Cullen Elliott. So I thought, may as well give the high potential player a call up to the All Whites, so we'll see if he gets some game time and how he looks, but certainly a hot prospect there at only 15 years old from the Phoenix, who could be in line for his first senior cap with the All Whites. Very much a similar case to Michael Cornelius Beale from the early days back when we were at AFC Auckland, and also one of our players that we signed at AFC Auckland before we left there has now qualified to be a New Zealander. So a new left wing option in behind Josh Pickering, and that is Louis Gomez, albeit these days he is a free agent, but he did his time at AFC Auckland enough to be considered for a switch. Obviously, being formerly Portuguese, wasn't going to get called up for those guys, so we offered him a chance, and he has taken it. So he's in there now over the likes of Gabriel Sloan Rodriguez and Jacob Hall-Jones. We'll see if we get a look at this guy off the bench during this window. So a couple of new faces in the team for this window, but hopefully going to still perform quite nicely. At least pick up a win over South Korea, and then we'll see how we get on over Egypt and hopefully get that ranking up before it probably goes down once we get stuck in to the OFC World Cup qualifying. But as I said, I'm pretty sure this is the first time we've been playing at Waikato Stadium on camera. I think we've been to Hamilton before, but to take on Wanderers at Pirate Park. So before we play our first game of this window, it's time for a bus trip. And of course, we start off most bus trips by finding our accommodation here, and today we're looking in Hamilton. A bit of a change from the last time that we stayed in Hamilton. This is a place quite close to the ground where we're playing in the Waikato Stadium, so we're going to stay here at the Heartland Ambassador. It's not too far away. Make our way down here, kind of see why I've chosen it soon. They've got things like a swimming pool, a hot tub, barbecue facilities, all that good stuff. We'll go down a bit further. Not sure if anyone calls the place Wonderful Waikato, but anyway, here's what it looks like. They've got a decent sized swimming pool that we can use. Also the hot tub there, not very private, but it will do. Go down a bit further. That angle does make it look a little bit better than it did aerially. Lots of pictures of the pool. There's the guy behind the counter there, looking absolutely thrilled about his job, but going forward a bit further, there are the rooms. They're okay. There's a dog there. Hopefully he's not too noisy, but he shouldn't be too bad. Got his own bed and a water bowl. Hopefully he doesn't keep our players awake there with those creepy eyes. We've got food. They've got conference rooms that we can use for our planning and whatnot. There's nice food. There's a swimming pool. There's a hot tub. I think I can see there a KFC or a Pizza Hut in the background. We're all sorted. That's where we're staying here in Hamilton. and it's only 750 metres away from the ground. So this is a bus trip we can actually almost do by foot, but it should mean it'll be one of the shorter ones on the channel so far. In this save, we're going to start off here from right outside of the Heartland Ambassador Hotel. Here you can see the entrance there. It looks like it's down the driveway a bit further, but indeed that is the Heartland. Looks like it's close there to a Bailey's real estate, but we want to go this way onto Ulster Street and then down a bit further. Also across the road, we've got a Pick and Save, and that is usually the cheapest supermarket here in New Zealand. In fact, looks like we're going to go right past the Pick and Save as we take a left-hand turn here and start to make our way down Route 9. So we'll go down here past the recycling truck, albeit he must have some gas because he's keeping up with me. Eventually, we start to outburn him by roadways, and you can see the Pick and Save on the left-hand side. If you're coming to New Zealand, that's probably the cheapest place to go and get your groceries. But going down the road a bit further, this won't be the longest bus trip, and to be fair, can't see too much at the moment with some of the foliage on the middle of the road. But on the right hand side, there's a school with your that might be okay. At least there's a supermarket nearby. But going down the road a bit further, it was a super cheap auto, not a Pizza Hut or a KFC, so that was my bad. Maybe the food options not too good in this area, but we'll keep going down the road a bit further, go through this intersection. There's a Z station to fill up on petrol as well, so lots of car themed things here. Down the road a bit further, there's a Domino's. We do have some food options nearby. You can grab some pizza, then do some body fit training right next door. But going down here just a touch further, and we can take a right hand turn here, and I'm pretty sure that will take us towards the stadium. I'll go a bit differently what Google Maps wants us to do, because I think this looks a bit more like the stadium than the other way we would have gone. There you can see some grounds around the stadium where maybe can do your warm-ups. We'll go down Tristan Street here, some housing very, very close to the stadium. That might be a nice place to buy a house in Hamilton. But there's gate 1. There you can see Waikato Stadium. This usually is the home of the Chiefs rugby team, and also Waikato in the NPC. I think we've got a gate up there with a bit of a Maori carving. Indeed, that is the case, so that's quite cool. Going down the road a bit further, you can see the uniforms there of the rugby teams, a bit of the history of the teams and the Ranfurly Shield reigns they've had and whatnot. But that is Waikato Stadium. We'll just see and get a better look at the outside from a different angle. And going down Seddon Road, which is where Google Maps told us to go a bit further, and there you can see there's gate 2 and gate 3 to be fair. From this view, it doesn't look quite as nice as it does from the other street that we were down, but there you can see the outside of Waikato Stadium. To be fair, it looks a bit average from this view with all the trees in the way, but that is Waikato Stadium. Let's see if we can find some photos from inside the ground as we make our way past gate 3, gate 5. I don't think we can go down there through security. Indeed we can't. So let's try and find a photo of the inside of the ground. And we've found one right on the halfway mark here when it must have been in rugby mode. There you can see the lights, which are a bit funny shaped there. Bit of a swoopy thing there going on above those lights. But here's the stadium. Orange seats, because of course Waikato play usually in orange, yellow, red and black. But there you can see the stadium. 2 decent sized stands on both sides, and a bit more of an embankment down one end, and the other one a bit of a smaller stand. But there's the ground when it's in rugby mode. Today it's football. We're going to take on South Korea with the All Whites. And here are the team sheets for this first clash of the window, where we do take on South Korea. In terms of us, a couple of changes because some players are on a bit of a heavy workload. We'll save them up for Egypt. First, I've got Joe Bell and Stumanik in defensive midfielders. South Korea going for a 4-3-3. Also, Chris Jones outright over Justin Keat, only recommended for 45 minutes, and Jay Herdman over Jamie Kelly as well. So a couple of changes to our best 11, but hopefully we're going to still be good enough to beat South Korea. And we just made our way past the halfway point of the first half, and eventually get the first highlight here is a goal kick to South Korea. But so far in this game, we've definitely been the team on the front foot, and thankfully South Korea, they're a poor pass, and Lucas Kelly-Heald can get us back on the ball. He's back from an injury from that previous window. He played it for to George McDonald. He has a chance there to square it for someone, but takes on the shot himself, puts it wide. That is not good play there from our star striker. So unfortunately, still 0-0 despite the fact we're well and truly on the front foot at the half-hour mark. And only a few minutes shy of half-time, we get another highlight here in the first half. It's been a quiet one so far in terms of what we've seen, but we've definitely been the team on the front foot, as is being shown by these highlights now. Baldy, rather fortunately, will get that ball back. It's a scrappy goal, but George McDonald will score an EIEI goal at Waikato Stadium to make it 1-0. And to be fair, based on stats, we probably deserve it. This was a bit loose here from Joe Bell, but thankfully got that one back from Lee Kung In, and somehow George McDonald got that ball despite the fact the goalkeeper looked like he probably should have got a foot on it, but thankfully that was not the case. There you can see the stats. Definitely been on top in this first half, and thankfully going to go into half-time here with a 1-0 lead again. Kind of like both games yesterday, because I want to get going in this one, but eventually grabbing a goal just before half-time, 1-0. Pretty happy with that. Hopefully can find a way to score a few more in the second half. Everyone out there on a decent rating. I don't think any subs are needed. Hopefully we can put South Korea away in the second half. And we haven't had to wait as long for the first highlight here of the second half, albeit it might not be a long one here. A free kick, and Jay Herdman is going to take this one. A little bit surprising because Joe Bell is quite good at those. Maybe it should have been Joe Bell because that one goes just over. Still 1-0 New Zealand. And we just made our way forward to the hour mark in this game, and Jay Herdman's just gone down to a red card, and also Martin Darman not doing well at right back. So a debut here for Chlesor Nyankuru. Also going to bring on Jamie Kelly in central attacking midfield. Marko Stamnic has also gone down to a red card, so Michael Cornelius Beale, he can come on for him. And also, we might consider here taking off Chris Jones going fairly on a 6.6 for a first teamer in Justin Keat. We've got 6 subs available in internationals, but it does still leave us with a couple to make in this last half hour, but a few changes to hopefully put this one to bed as we're still only 1-0 in front. And in fact, only about 5 minutes off the back of those previous subs. We're going to make our next one now because Joe Bell is down to a red heart. It'll be Louis Evans to come on for him. And just about to make our way into the last 15 minutes of this game. Still not many highlights in this one, but was about to make our final sub. I was thinking that Josh Pickering might come off with Louis Gomez, but indeed it's actually Tyler Binden who's down to a red heart. So we'll play things safe. Simon Curtis can come on for him with our final sub still looking for the goal to put this game to bed. Only 1-0 in front. And just made our way into the last 10 minutes of this game, and eventually get another highlight here in the second half, albeit it's a chance here for South Korea from a free kick with a poor one. Cornelius Beale can get that back for us, plays it forward to George McDonald. Good touch there to get inside and put that on his right foot, and it's a wonderful finish into that bottom right corner. Another EI goal, but this is a poor free kick from South Korea trying to make their way out from the back. Beale, good interception, picks up the assist, but that is a very good finish from George McDonald, which will hopefully put this game to bed, albeit as I say that, we do see a highlight here from the restart, and Lee Kung In will try and make his way down that left-hand side. Can South Korea grab a goal back here to make things interesting? But loose touch, and now Keat plays it forward to McDonald, who is now on a hat-trick. Good in and out there to get that one on his right foot, but this time puts that one just wide. Not quite as good a finish as we saw before, but definitely on the front foot still. Thankfully, George McDonald with a couple of late goals in both halves. We'll see if anything else does come from this game. To be fair, not that many highlights, but in all of them, we were on the front foot, and thankfully 2 goals to George McDonald. To be fair, had his chances to complete a hat-trick. He was quite instrumental in everything we did, and we pick up another win over South Korea in New Zealand, this time 2-0 in Hamilton. Good start to the window. We'll come back shortly and take on Egypt away. And FM says no, because unfortunately I have to go rush and put my Cashmere Technical sweatshirt on now, because I think we're going to take on Western Suburbs, because Egypt cancelled us, like often happens in this October/September international window. We'll just check what they actually did instead of playing us. But yeah, we've been cancelled on yet again by an African team. And that is because on the exact same day that we were supposed to play them, they were taking on the likes of Mali and Equatorial Guinea. So they really do schedule their African nations qualifiers quite late there. So yeah, Egypt, we did not get the chance to take on, so just one friendly from that window, but unfortunate that we couldn't give Louis Gomez his debut because of that. But yeah, 1 win in that window. Maybe need to think about playing teams from different regions than Africa in that window, because they always seem to cancel us, like nations like Cape Verde have done it in the past. What that means is, unfortunately, we stay in 37th on the FIFA World Rankings, because that win did absolutely nothing to put us up any further, even though we actually went up by beating teams like Papua New Guinea, but stay in the same spot by beating a team 100 places higher, like South Korea. Don't know how that makes sense. But yeah, hopefully we'll go up further by beating the likes of Fiji and whatnot, and we get stuck in to our OFC World Cup qualifiers. But it does mean we're going to have to switch our attention now to Cashmere Technical, and we're going to take on Western Suburbs in a top of the National League clash. A quick look at what that table looks like yet again. So far, the only 2 teams with a perfect record, the exact same goals for and goals against, albeit we of course did play these guys yesterday in the Chatham Cup quarterfinals, and bet them. So hopefully can do something similar in this episode and make a big step towards making our way into the final and trying to win this for a 4th straight season. A couple of injuries though that we did suffer in those first couple of games that we did play in this championship phase. David Pedro is coming back, so that's quite good, albeit he's only recommended for 75 minutes. But Lorenzo Janssen, he got injured. We'll see if it says when. It does not. I think it was in the game where we took on Tauranga City. He is out for 7 more days, and that is with a calf strain. So he's definitely not available for this game that we are about to play, where hopefully we can pick up a win. And as I said, that should take us a long way towards a National League final. If we do win it, we might even be able to skip forward and play that one in tomorrow's episode, but definitely having to pivot here a bit, seeing as Egypt cancelled on me, blimmin' FM, and those international windows. But hopefully we'll pick up a win here, and it will take us a long way towards booking a spot in the 2032 National League final. And here are the team sheets for this top of the table clash. First up, Western Suburbs. They're still going with the 4-3-3 they used in that quarterfinal yesterday. Interesting to see Todd Smith, formerly of Ferrymead Basin, the save I believe is now up at Western Suburbs. We've gone with our first choice 11, apart from the fact that Jamie Young comes in for the injured Lorenzo Janssen, but hopefully a win here to go sole top of this National League Championship. And just shy the 20-minute mark, we get the first highlight of this game. It's going to be a goal kick here to Western Suburbs in front of their home fans, because we're always playing them in Porirua these days. May as well buy a house up there, but thankfully they don't quite control that ball, and Victoros can win it back for us now. He'll get in behind, tries to take that one around the goalkeeper and does a really good job. That's already his 3rd goal here at Cashmere Technical. Jamie Young picks up the assist, coming in, as I said, for the injured Lorenzo Janssen. And that is a good start from the first highlight. Victoros for to Young, and just gets in behind there, that left centre-back for Western Suburbs, and beats Chronopolis quite well in that top right corner. And we take a 1-0 lead. And just before half-time, we get the second highlight here of this first half. So again, it's been quite a quiet game in terms of what we're seeing, but do have a 1-0 lead. We'll see if we can build on that. Mina with a shot, trying to look for that bottom right corner, but this time Chronopolis comes up with a good save, despite the fact there are a few bodies in his way, but a chance for him now to grab an assist from this corner. We'll try and put this one far post, looking for Georgios Victoros, but unfortunately can't quite find him. Young with a shot off the back of that. It does come off Villarreal. Another chance for us here for a set piece, so maybe give me another chance here for Victoros to jump up and get his big old head on the end of this one. Unfortunately, someone didn't need a goal trick for some reason. Heads out to make sure it's a goal kick, so it's a bit confusing. But to be fair, we do see the goal kick right off the back of that. Evans wins that one there, and now plays that forward to Medi Low. Goes back out there to Nara, and now Pedro Bissi, only recommended for 75 minutes. So probably someone will take off at some point during this game. But Tolina must have charged his way forward off the back of that pass to Pedro Bissi, as he gets on the end of that one and picks up a double. He's on a hat-trick here in Porirua and gives us a cushion goal lead right before half-time. Good work there from Pedro Bissi to find him again, and good finish into that left-hand corner. That's exactly what we wanted right before half-time. It's been a quiet game, as I said, but yet again, playing a team who have done nothing against us, and thankfully we kicked them to life there just before half-time to grab a cushion goal. To be fair, again, like yesterday, running out there on a good rings. Don't think any subs are needed just yet. We'll get back into the action with a 2-0 lead. Up to the hour mark, and I think it might be time for us here to make a couple of subs, because Western Suburbs are still not doing anything. I feel like here we can give some players a rest who might need it. So we're going to take off here Xavier Smith for Jordan Courtney Perkins. Also, El Ghazali will come on for Medi Low. Was going to take off Kevin Mina for Louis Rodriguez, but have just remembered Pedro Bissi only recommended for 75 minutes, so instead Isaac Hughes, he can come in at right back. There'll be all our subs used, still 2-0 in front with a half hour left. And just about to make our way into the last 15 minutes of this game, and we eventually get some highlights here in the second half, and good work there from Sam Clark to win that ball of a Western Suburbs play. Now El Ghazali, he goes down as Mina, makes his way forward, forces a good save there at Chronopolis at the near post. We'll see what happens here to El Ghazali. My face cam might be in the way, but the medic is making his way onto the field, so we'll see what happens with him. He's walking off the field, so we'll see what happens. It does look like it might be an orange injury, but now we're going to wait for him to go off the field before this corner does take place. We'll see if a goal is coming from this highlight or it's something more serious to El Ghazali, but Young will float this one into the mixer. Unfortunately, no one gets their head on the end of it, albeit El Ghazali looks like he's making his way back onto the field, so thankfully not going to be reduced here to 10 men later in this one, but off the back of that, we've got a throw inside the final third. Isaac Hughes playing right back. We'll try and float this one far post 4 metre, but unfortunately that header goes safely over the bar. Still 2-0 in front. And just making way into the last couple of minutes of this game, yet again it's been pretty quiet one in terms of highlights. That's been the case for actually quite a few of the recent games I've been playing here on Football Manager, but that's mainly because the opposition haven't been up to too much, and beef here in that one, we weren't up to too much either. But thankfully, a first half double to Tulik Naru so far has been a very good addition at Cashmere Technical, albeit only in a couple of games, but that's a good win, 2-0 over Western Suburbs. Back-to-back wins up there in Porirua, and that means we'll go lone top of the National League, and that should take us a fair way towards booking a spot in the grand final. So a good solid win for us there in that top of the table clash in the National League Championship, and as you saw before, that does mean we are now lone on top. Second spot now is Wellington Olympic and Western Suburbs, both on 9 points. Auckland City a bit further behind, but are still yet to play Hamilton Wanderers on this match day. You'd imagine they'll win that, so it could be a bit of a free horse race there for that second spot to see who we hopefully will be taking on in the National League final. But I think that will do it for today's episode. We're supposed to be 2 internationals, but in Egypt, but thankfully picked up a win over South Korea for that one there over Western Suburbs in the National League. If you enjoyed today's episode, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also consider hitting that subscribe button and turning that notification bell on as well. As I said, tomorrow I think we'll just skip forward and come back for the final. The only interesting game left, I think, might be Wellington Olympic, who's already taken on now Western Suburbs and Auckland City. So imagine, even if we do get beaten somehow by Olympic, we'd still be in a strong enough position to make the final. So I think just skip forward and come back for that in tomorrow's episode. And if there's anything else interesting around that, we'll cover that off too. So until then, thank you very much for watching. Keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.